This is Sedona Journal Speaks. Join us in our ongoing conversations with inspired authors, direct from the pages of the Sedona Journal of Emergence and Light Technology Publishing. This is where we dive in deep, discussing and applying cutting-edge spiritual tools and practices. Hey, we're waking up. What's next? Our power and possibilities are infinite.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Sedona Journal Speaks podcast. This is your host, Eileen Meyer. Things are humming along here at Light Technology Publishing and Sedona Journal of Emergence magazine, and now the new podcast at sedonajournalspeaks.com. We invite you to visit our Facebook page, Sedona Journal, and let us know that you're listening or just say hi. Sedona Journal Speaks is a bi-weekly podcast, so every other Monday, look for the new podcast, or better yet, subscribe to the show on iTunes so that you don't have to think about it. Subscribe and it simply arrives onto your computer, tablet, or phone. We also have the podcast listed and available on a variety of other podcast sites and directories. I speak to some amazing people here in the studio who just so happen to be authors and contributors at Light Technology Publishing and Sedona Journal of Emergence magazine. In the coming weeks, look for our talks with authors Jaap van Etten, Ph.D., and Channel's Arthur Fanning and Kathy Chapman, Ph.D., to name a few. Today's episode is with David Miller, a kind and talented soul with an equally kind and talented wife, Gudrun. And having just completed a workshop in town, he also brought 2 of his group of 40 team members of the human variety, Birgit and Lynn. Or wait, maybe they were Arcturians? I never thought to ask. Huh. Oh well, all are welcome here. Also look for David Miller and group of 40 predictions in the December issue of the Sedona Journal of Emergence. And here's our big savings announcement. For 2 weeks from the date that the David Miller episode posts, all of David Miller's books will be 50% off with promo code SJSMiller. That's 11 books. You have to admit that's a pretty darn good savings. Just head over to lighttechnologypublishing.com and plug in that code SJSMiller. Okay, enough of the data and details. Let's get on with our talk with David Miller, Group of 40 et al. Well, hello and welcome to David Miller and your lovely wife, Gudrun Miller. I'd also like to welcome to the studio some friends of yours who joined you at your recent workshop here and help you out quite a bit, which is always wonderful to have lovely people like that around you to support you. And their names are Birgit and Lynn. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's really, really wonderful to have you. I've been excited about this interview for a while, so let's just dive in, huh? You recently did a workshop in Flagstaff, is that correct?
Yes, we did a workshop on the planetary crisis and how to adjust and adapt to the planetary crisis using fifth dimensional energy.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Did you notice that people were receiving that and practicing it?
Well, I think that people really are very accepting of the fifth dimension and very accepting that we must use special tools and special spirituality to change the planet and the current situation. And most of the people that attend my workshops are starseeds, so they're very open to the fifth dimension and open to some of the techniques that we are teaching, such as biorelativity and shimmering.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
Well, biorelativity is the process of working together mentally and in a meditative state to communicate with the spirit of the earth. It's our belief that the earth is a living spirit. So we use techniques that have some of their roots in the Native American energies, but we also are adapting these techniques for global usage. One of the advantages of the current Earth situation is that we have internet, we have podcasts, such as what we're doing right now, and we have a much broader way of interacting with the world on a global nature. The second technique is really helping people to accelerate their spiritual light quotient. And we use, and I teach special techniques to activate your aura and to help your aura vibrate at a higher rate. This provides assistance to moving to higher spirituality and also to protect yourself from possible intrusions, even intrusions from viruses. These can be blocked by doing the right type of vibration of your aura.
That is a very timely topic right now with the viruses that we have returning on Earth and in our world. So if you wouldn't mind commenting on that a little bit later, I do want to explore with you the life of a channel. That's the subheading of this podcast, and we'd like to explore you, David, a little more closely right now. Is that okay with you?
Well, ask any question you want. I'll try to be as open as I can.
Okay, the podcast opening says this is where we dive in deep. David Miller has an extensive background in psychology and psychotherapy. After 35 years of conventional practice, David now focuses exclusively on soul psychology in his psychotherapy practice. In addition, David has been channeling for 20 years and is the director and founder of an international meditation group focused on personal and planetary healing for 15 of those years. David has been developing groundbreaking global healing techniques using group consciousness, and one of the techniques he uses with the group is called biorelativity, which works to restore the Earth's feedback loop system, a complex planetary system which maintains the correct balance of our planet's atmosphere, ocean currents, and weather patterns. In addition to his lectures and workshops, David is also a prolific author, writing, I count 11 books with Light Technology Publishing, as well as being a regular contributor to the Sedona Journal of Emergence magazine. His most recent book, hot off the press here at Light Technology Publishing, is Fifth Dimensional Soul Psychology, which we will explore in a few minutes. David works together with his wife, Gudrun Miller, who is also a soul psychologist, a visionary artist, and has integrated art therapy, life between lives therapy, and hypnotherapy into her long-standing psychotherapy practice. Together, they have conducted workshops throughout the world. Did I cover that pretty well? Is there anything more to add?
I'm very impressed. Who is that masked man?
Very good.
Well, we're excited to have him present in our studio. So also I want to ask you, what are the URLs? Where can people find you?
Sure. Our website is www.groupof40, that's GROUPOFFORTY. And we have quite an extensive explanation of all of our activities. So we invite all of your listeners to look us up.
Okay. Do you have a Facebook page?
We also have a Facebook page, and my Facebook manager is here, and she could give directions. Brigitte is her name, and she can give directions on how to access the Facebook page.
Okay.
In order to access our Facebook page, please find us at Group of 40 on Facebook and ask to be admitted. And if you are a member, I will admit you to our Facebook page because it is a privilege of membership.
I see.
If you do not want to be a member at this time, we have a Facebook page that is open to anyone, and it's called the Group of 40 information page. Just ask to join it, please, and I will let you come.
Okay, great. Thank you, Birgit. I also want to add that you can purchase these books at lighttechnologypublishing.com and in ebook Kindle format on the major digital publishing sites. Your material covers a lot of ground, so it would be beneficial to create some more focused segments and invite listener interaction. For this visit, we'll focus more on the life of a channel. So let's just start with, you live in Arizona.
Yes, my wife Gudrun and I are the co-founders of the Group of 40 project, and we live in Prescott, Arizona. We live about 5 miles south in the mountains, and we live right adjacent to the National Forest. We feel that Prescott has a wonderful spiritual energy, and we love being in the Ponderosa Pines.
Beautiful. I passed through Prescott once, and I did note that the energy is very different there than the rest of Arizona, for me.
It's a very cleansing area. There's not a lot of pollution, and it's a growing area. But there's some very sacred areas there, especially the Spruce Mountain area. We live close to there, which on the top of Spruce Mountain, near where we live, you actually can see the San Francisco peaks. And so I feel there is a spiritual connection between the high mountains called the Spruce Mountain and the Mount Humphreys here in Flagstaff.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so what I like to do is, what I'm personally fascinated by is the journey from where you were born to where you are now, Prescott. And I know that could take quite a while, but we can just do the quick overview of your path from where were you born, David?
I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, in 1946, and I grew up in Cleveland, and I went to Ohio State University, and also worked and met my wife Gudrun at Ohio State University.
Oh.
And was very involved then in psychology. I was studying the Kabbalah. Even in early college, I've been very interested in Jewish mysticism and the Kabbalah, and have a background. I was raised in Judaism and study Hebrew and Jewish texts that are related to the Tree of Life and to Jewish mysticism. And I continued my career after graduating from Ohio State in the mental health field and worked in several mental health facilities and in a psychiatric hospital. But one of the life-changing experiences I had was moving to Arizona. And my wife, Gudrun, and I moved to Arizona in 1987 after a meditation on Bell Rock in May, in late April, May of 87, when we hoped and asked that we could find a way to live here. And after we moved here, we continued to come to Sedona quite often. We would come to Prescott. We were very fascinated by the sacred energy here in Flagstaff and in the San Francisco peaks, and also even in Mount Eldon. But at the time that we moved here in the 87, 88, there was a lot of live channeling going on in Sedona. And the big joke at the time was Sedona is the only city in the United States that has no TV stations but 30 channels.
I had not heard that one, surprisingly, but I like it. Well, did your family practice the Jewish mysticism and
No,
Kabbalah?
not at all. In fact, the Jewish mysticism, which is I'm very interested in, is not widely practiced in traditional Jewish homes. And I actually found more interest out here in Arizona in the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life. Now, I'm sure there are people in Ohio, where I come from, who are interested in this. But there's been an awakening probably within the past 20 years to 25 years in the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life. And a lot of the information is becoming more well-known. I mean, even as recently as 10 years ago, we all know that Madonna was studying Kabbalah in Jerusalem, for example. So there has been more widespread publicity. Now, traditionally, the Kabbalah was not available to non-Jews, and it was only available to those Jews who were 40 years old or more, because they felt the teaching was so sacred that it was not to be shared. But that's changed, and I don't think that's a very popular idea now. And certainly, given the current world situation, we need to start sharing more of the sacred information that's been hidden for such a long time.
I agree. And with all of the religious and spiritual practices, it seems like they all have been withholding or hiding a little bit something until this timing. So at what point, this is the magical moment, at what point did you know that you were a channel?
Well, this is a very interesting story. My wife was actually more interested in channeling than I was, and she was exploring the Ouija board with a friend, and I was somewhat disdainful of the Ouija board. And they talked me into, her friend and my wife, Gudrun, talked me into a session on the Ouija board. And I asked the Ouija board through Gudrun and her friend a very esoteric question about the Kabbalah. And it was a question that I knew that Gudrun didn't know the answer because it was involving a Hebrew word. And they answered it correctly. And it totally blew my mind. And I go, ooh, there must be something too connecting with the spirits, because how was she able to find an answer to this question when in her conscious life she didn't know the answer?
Wow. Is that how you recollect it, Gudrun?
Yes, and we were actually connecting with Archangel Michael on the Ouija board. And right after that, we got the message that we shouldn't use the Ouija board. We should just direct channel.
I love that. I love these stories. It's one of my favorite parts of talking to channels. Ouija board, wonderful. And so how did this happening for you, how did this change your life and your relationships?
Well, we continue to study spirituality, and we were very interested in channeling, and we were going to workshops because as now there are quite a bit of channeled workshops available there, and actually in one of the workshops I met Melody, and this was probably as early as 1990, 1991. But it was probably around 1994 we decided to take a trip to the Grand Canyon because we're very interested in the spiritual energy of the canyon. And we went to the north rim of the Grand Canyon, and we took a four-wheel drive trip back to this place called Sublime Point. And remind you that Gudrun was a lot more interested and more supportive of the channeling than I was at that time, even though we had that positive Ouija board experience. And while we were meditating on the mountain overlook, I started to channel spontaneously without even trying. And I got into this state of consciousness. Now, in the Kabbalah, there is a history of channeling. I want to just point that out to your listeners. And the Kabbalah calls this type of experience automatic speaking instead of channeling, which is kind of an interesting word, and I think it's very descriptive. So I started automatically speaking for about 3 hours. And I started telling my wife things about her past life and about her family, and it just went on. And it was starting to get late, and we realized we had to start driving back. So I was driving back, and even while I was driving back, I was still channeling. And so this whole thing lasted about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours.
Wow. What did that feel like for you, Gudrun, when that was happening?
Well, I was very excited and very much surprised and in awe of David bringing through this information, and it was such good information. And what he didn't tell you was that he also, in that time, introduced both of us to personal guides that would be working with us at that time. And his was a Kabbalistic master, and mine was a Native American master. And so we then proceeded to work with those two masters directly, because we now had an understanding of who some of our teachers were. So this was a life-changing experience, and it opened doors for me spiritually and in my perception also.
Wonderful. What a beautiful story. Well, how much longer after that happening, that unfolding, were you ready to sit down and write books?
Oh, there was a long period in between because I had to practice channeling, even though I had that experience, being able to channel for 3 or 4 hours. As they say, I wasn't ready for prime time because number one, it's one thing to channel for your wife and very comfortable with, but to go in front of other people is a totally different story. And one of the things I want to really explain is the channeling is something that has to be practiced. A lot of people even ask me, well, how can I channel? And I have to explain to them that there's a lot of study and practice involved. I think it's art. So it's like the piano. You might have talent for playing the piano, but you still have to practice. So I came back and I was channeling for some other friends, but what was interesting is I was only able to hold the energy for maybe 15 minutes at the most, and these were only close friends. I was not channeling for other people, and I certainly wasn't writing any books at that point. It was only later on that I was able to channel for longer periods of time, and then I started submitting articles to Light Technology, and because of that experience of having the articles accepted, I began to contemplate writing a book. But this was like 4 or 5 years after this initial, aha experience.
Yes, yes. And I should mention, when you mentioned the name Melody, that we're referring to Melody Swanson, the owner of Light Technology Publishing and, of course, the Sedona Journal of Emergence magazine that you just referred to. So I know that there's been an evolution, there always is, with the channeling process. What's different now in the way that you move into the channeling state or the automatic speaking state? What's different now? Is it a lot quicker than it was before?
Well, a lot of things are different. Yes, it is quicker. And I use a technique that comes from my experience in modern psychology called anchoring. It's based on a hypnotherapy technique developed by Erik Erikson, who is a well-known hypnotherapist. And he developed this technique of anchoring where you go into one state of consciousness and then you wish to be in that state of consciousness in the future. However, in the future, you know that you're not going to have the time to meditate and go into deeper states of concentration. So you anchor in the state by triggering a sign or symbol. I use a chime, or I also use the toning of the word shalom. And either one of those will help to trigger me to go into a deeper state of consciousness. Now, I want to explain that to be a channel, to go into channeling, involves going into a trance. And because of my experiences as a psychotherapist, I've been very interested all my life, even before I channeled, into the altered states of consciousness and how to achieve those states. So there is trances are light, medium, and heavy. And perhaps in a future interview, if the listeners are interested, we could go into describing this. But now I've learned how to go into the state of trance very easily. And the second thing is because I've had so many experiences and so many hours of channeling that I'm not thrown off as easily. When I was beginning this, I got myself into some very touchy situations where I was in front of large groups and got sick, for example. And it was very difficult for me to channel, but I forced myself to do that. So now I'm able to get into the state and work even if I'm off balance somewhat. And I try not to get sick, obviously, but that it has happened several times. And actually, it kind of bolstered my confidence because now if I get into a difficult situation and there might be some serious distractions, I always remember, well, I was in this really, really serious situation, in Germany 8 years ago. And I was able to handle that. This is what the situation now is a piece of cake compared to what I was dealing with then. So just having the experience it really helped. And plus, I could usually hold the energy for longer periods of time.
Do you want to talk or elaborate a little bit on the Germany experience?
Well, I began to do traveling because I got requests to give workshops in different countries. And I had a German publisher that was very interested in my work, and he invited me there. And as we mentioned in the beginning of this lecture or interview, I and my wife founded this group of 40, which is a planetary healing group and a meditation group, and we're focused on the energies of the ascension. So people in Germany were very interested in this work, and they invited me to do a workshop in a city near Munich. So we got there, and I was doing very well, but then I had trouble with some of the German food and wound up, this is funny, eating some German pretzels at the time, which are very popular. And when I was younger, I loved this kind of food with this wonderful hot mustard and everything. I mean, you could just die for it. Well, my body just did not like that. And so I started having some serious digestive issues. And it was right in the middle of having to do a lecture and interview.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So, but I was able to still hold it together, and I think most of the people in the audience didn't know what I was going through. But it's interesting. So, and you might find this with a lot of other channels. And as I've gotten more into this work, and I've become more sensitive in many levels, and I became more sensitive to foods. So some of the foods that I was able to eat when I was younger, a lot of the junk foods and stuff, I can't really touch now. And I really, when I go do any kind of workshops or traveling, I have to make sure if I'm going to be in front of a group doing channeling that I have my dietary needs met so that I can protect myself.
Completely understandable. But you did get through that.
Well, yes, and actually it was a very successful workshop, and we have a very strong supporting group now in Germany. And we even, one of the men who was helping me there, a German, his name is Oliver Hauck, he, through channeling that I gave him at the time, was so inspired from the workshop that he made a movie about the channeling and the themes that we are working with. The movie called The Blue Jewel, das blaue Juwel in German, is available and is now available through Light Technology, for example. And it summarizes some of our key concepts of biorelativity and different techniques known as the planetary cities of light technology that are planetary healing methods that have become very popular.
And I'm sorry, what was that called again?
The name of the movie is called The Blue Jewel. And we did bring the movie to the United States. The movie originally came out in Germany, and it was all in German, but then we arranged to have it in English with dubbing. And Melody is now selling the movie through Light Technology. But it's a great introduction to the concepts of planetary healing, because a lot of the work that we're talking about is really changing the Earth and changing the spiritual light energy on the Earth, because that is one of the main themes and one of the main works that we're doing in our Group of 40 process, and also educating people about trying to bring the Earth into a higher level all over of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Very important work. So can people see a trailer or something of that nature online?
There is a trailer. The trailer is under the title The Blue Jewel. If you, thebluejewel.com, or if you just go The Blue Jewel Planetary Healing, if you Google those words, you will find the trailer.
Okay.
But we even wanted to make a follow-up movie on this because we had such a wonderful reception. And the movie won several awards. And some of the other channels that are known in the United States participated in this movie. So it wasn't just about me, but it was about some other channels who are involved in this planetary healing technology.
Wonderful. We'll have to look for that. The last question that I have for you is how do we talked about how you transition into your channeling state. What does that look like when you transition out? Very similar?
transition out
of the channeling state?
Usually I come to a point where I'm feeling a little bit tired. I'm also coming to a point where the energies or masters that I'm working with, they seem to pace what my physical limits are. And now it's almost like it's like a chapter from the book. I mean, they come up with the introduction, they come up with the medium part, and they come up with a conclusion, and it's all very nicely put together. And then we reach a point where it's just finished, and then I stop channeling and come out of the trance.
Okay, so do we have time to have a short channeling today?
Well, sure. As long as you don't give me any bad food.
I got some pretzels over here in the kitchen with hot mustard. No, I would not do that to you, David. My stomach kind of tightened up when you were talking about it. So.
Listen, the pretzels in Germany are great, though. If you can handle it, I definitely recommend it.
Yes. Well, one day I will go there and have some pretzels and mustard, but I won't be channeling in front of a group of people. Okay, so I'd like to invite, I guess it's the group of 40, the Arcturians, for a short channeling. I do have maybe a couple general questions that I could ask. Is that okay?
Sure. You want to ask the questions first, and then we can go from there? Or
I was intrigued by the Arcturians being referred to as the healers. And so I had a couple of questions about the Ebola virus, and also recently the cannabis plant is getting a whole lot of attention around healing.
So let's work with those two issues.
Okay, sure.
And I do want to tell your listeners that I do have two other members of my group, Lynn and Brigitte here, as well as my wife Gudrun. And so what we'll do to begin the channeling is we're all going to chant together the word shalom, and we'll do it 3 times, and that will probably be enough to put me into a light trance, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, wonderful.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Greetings, I am Giuliano. We are the Arcturians. So this is a time of major transition on the earth. And this is also a point where there needs to be an evolutionary change for, as many of you know, things cannot continue as they are. And we compare this evolutionary change to other points in the history of the earth where a change must be made in order to survive. I know this may be shocking, but the total survival of humanity is threatened now, and the survivability of the biosphere is also threatened. But I do want to talk about some of the issues from this perspective, and in particular, I want to talk about it from the perspective of your immune system. The immune systems on the humanity are very compromised at this time. There are many reasons why the immune system is compromised. The first is there is an extraordinary amount of radiation in the atmosphere, more so than in any other time on this planet. That is during the time when humanity was living on the planet. And secondly, there is, not surprisingly to your listeners, a terrible pollution problem on this planet. And there are so many contaminants in the air, the water. Finally, and this also relates to the radiation issue, there is deficiencies in the Earth's aura. As you know, the Earth is a living planet, and the Earth has an aura. Now, the aura can have holes in it, just like a human aura can have holes in it. And there is more life force energy being seeped away And also there is a combination of other factors that create imbalances in the Earth's energy field. And some of these are from unknown experiments that have been done on the planet through, for example, the military. The military has done very strange experiments with radio frequencies and radio waves that have upset the space-time continuum balances that are in the Earth's aura. Now, I only bring this up because this is set up greater openings and distortions in the Earth's aura, which allow more problems to occur. So, given all this combination, it's not surprising that man's immune system is compromised. And this leads to the discussions of the Ebola virus and AIDS and many other viruses that are now breaking out throughout the planet. And you will find in the future time that the key factor in the survivability and health is going to be those who have good immune systems. The immune systems of the humanity must make changes in order to cope with these different factors that I have just mentioned. Now, I can report, though, that there are ways through spiritual technologies that we are teaching that people can protect themselves from these viruses and can set up special energy fields. The important thing to remember is that these viruses must come through your aura first. It's not that the viruses get attached to your body, but which they can, but they have to enter your energy field, the aura, first. And there are ways that we are teaching to reshape the aura into the configuration known as the cosmic egg. The cosmic egg is the perfect shaped egg that you will see when you buy eggs from your store, but it is a configuration of galactic origin and galactic perfection, but it is a figure that also is applicable to your aura. When your aura is in the shape of a cosmic egg, then it is very difficult for viruses or any lower vibrations to enter them. But it's more than just the shape. Now, I do want to say to you that there are different problems that could affect the shape of your aura. And there are distortions in the aura, and there also can be holes in the aura. So putting your aura back into the shape of the cosmic egg can really be helpful. We also do toning to increase the vibration of the aura. And you probably know a lot about sound healing, but the sound healing often is talked about in helping to remove the viruses, but you can use sound healing to push the viruses so they cannot come into your aura. So I'm going to make one tone now that is very helpful when you have a aura in the shape of a cosmic egg, and you may think that you might have an intrusion from a parasite or bacteria. You can use this sound. And as you are making this sound, visualize your aura pushing energy out, so any lower vibration, any parasite, and any virus will not be able to penetrate your cosmic egg. The other factor that is really important is the pulsing vibration of your aura. The pulsing vibration of the aura is a way also because of protection, because the viruses are able to enter in a lower vibrational energy field. Two people can be exposed to the virus, but if one has a higher vibrating aura, that virus will not get through. So we say that the pulsing of your aura is like pulsing in your own pulse. The difference is that your aura can pulse at a much higher vibration and go into very high states. So we do special exercises in our spiritual technologies called increasing the pulsing of the aura. And we use this sound to maximize and also model the pulsing of your aura. Ta 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 ta. So we work with the people to help accelerate the speed of their aura. And remember that people already understand this. They say, well, he's of a higher vibration, or that person is of a lower vibration. And there's actually truth in this. Now, in the final few minutes we have, I want to talk a little bit about cannabis. You ask about the cannabis. And let me just say generally that, of course, in moderation is the key. But different people have different requirements. And some people benefit from cannabis, but some people are harmed by it. So you can't say that everyone should be using it. The other thing is that long-term use, or shall I say abuse, can have a distortive effect on the aura, because the cannabis, like any drug, does have a reaction in the biology of the human. So I would say that some people, it provides a boost that they need, but also there are other people who graduate and don't need the boost, and if they continue to use it, even if they don't need it, then it could cause some distortions in their aura. So but it's not a cure-all. It's not something that everyone should use. And if you do need it for some reason, I'm sure it could be useful, but it should not be abused. And there is a tremendous other issue, which is how the cannabis affects the immune system. And we would look at that at a future time. But you have to remember that for some people, it will affect their immune system and weaken it. But in other people, it will not. Finally, you should always be aware that there is an issue with cognition, because the cannabis can cause a slowing down of cognitive functioning. And I will point out that this channel, David, had used cannabis and was not able to channel. And when he stopped using cannabis, several years afterwards, he began to channel and began to write books. But had he continued to use cannabis, then it is our assessment that his biology would not have allowed this higher cognitive functioning to manifest. So remember, it is important to look at the cognitive abilities of people and realize that there is a side effect in the cognition over long-term use. So I want to conclude by saying that there are new spiritual technologies that are helpful not only for your personal development, but also for the development of the planet. The planet needs a higher input of spiritual light, and this can be done by the star seeds. And just as the human has an aura, just as the human has a vibrational energy field, so the planet does. And this vibrational energy field of the planet has been compromised. And there are also holes and distortions in the Earth's aura that must be repaired. And the planetary healers, under some of our assistance, will and can correct this, but it will take a lot more energy and a lot more cooperation. So we are helping to provide lessons in planetary technology and personal healing. I am Giuliano. Good day.
Good day. Thank you, Giuliano. We very much appreciate the tools and the wisdom. Thank you. So again, the website for David Miller's work is groupof40.com. And 11 of his books are available at lighttechnologypublishing.com. The most recent one?
It's Fifth Dimensional Soul Psychology.
Fifth Dimensional Soul Psychology, literally like hot off the presses, right?
It's hot off the press. And also Gudrun, who is a life between life therapist and hypnotherapist, has the last chapter in this book. In the whole book of soul psychology for the fifth dimension is exploring ways that are of non-traditional methods in psychology, such as channeling and life between life therapies. And maybe Gudrun can say a word about the life between life therapies.
I would love that. I was just going to ask that. Thank you.
David talks about life between life, and that is one aspect of doing the hypnotherapy regression. I like to call it soul healing, because the way that I set up the regression is that I work with the higher self and with my clients' guides and teachers and ask that we access a point in their soul journey that is either stuck or needs assistance or needs to be healed. And I have found, because we are multidimensional beings, that the information and the experiences that come through my clients are profound. And many of them come away from a session like that with a deeper insight into their spiritual mission, into their purpose for being on Earth, and they have a greater acceptance of who they are as a soul being. So I think traditional psychotherapy does not yet recognize the soul. It needs to happen because we are such complex beings, and there's so much more to us than just what is conscious. So thank you.
Very well said, and very important work right now, Gudrun. And do people find you through the Group of 40 website as well, if they are interested in this work specifically?
Yes, they can contact me through the Group of 40. Some of my artwork is on that website also. I think we have our phone number, and my email is on there. So if you need to contact me, please do so.
Great. And then also, again, for the Facebook page, you go to the groupof40.com site, and then there's something to click on there to access the Facebook page.
It will be up very soon. We're working on the link, but on the book there is a on the website there is a section called Private Sessions, and they could either link to me or to Gudrun, because also I do private sessions on soul healing and on different issues, and Gudrun does also private sessions, and she also works with people to help them connect to their higher self. Maybe Gudrun can say something about that also.
Well, the concept of the higher self comes from the understanding that we are connected to the Creator ultimately, and we're multidimensional beings, and our third-dimensional existence is just one aspect of our soul. Our highest self has much guidance, information, and support to give us, and I know we all need that. And that presence of our higher self in our lives, which we can access, can help us now, because there's just so much drama and fear on this earth, and it provides a perspective that is of greater compassion and detachment, so that you don't end up feeling so anxious or depressed because there are such critical world events happening now, and also in your personal life. It can help you find more balance and more peace.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gudrun. So the books are all available on lighttechnologypublishing.com, in chain bookstores, health food stores, and in ebook format at the major digital publishing sites like Amazon, iTunes, etc. We will post links in our show notes on sedonajournalspeaks.com of all of the links that we have discussed today. And please visit and like our Facebook pages, Sedona Journal and Light Technology Publishing. David, Gudrun, what's happening next for you?
Well, next we're continuing our work with our group of 40. We have a monthly newsletter, and we have monthly Earth healing sessions for biorelativity. And we'll be planning our next annual meeting in Flagstaff for 2015, and there'll be more information about that. But we really love Flagstaff and feel it's a great base for spiritual work.
We agree. All right, then we'd also like to have you back at some point in the future. Can we create some special segments for interactive kind of stuff with the listeners where they can send in questions, perhaps on Facebook or Twitter?
Absolutely. Gudrun and I would be happy to come back and work with you. And we've enjoyed very much this opportunity to share some of the spiritual energy and teachings that we've been working with.
Thank you. We very much appreciate it here. Thanks for coming in. And thank you, Birgit and Lynn, for joining us as well.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. That's a big 10-4. There they go. David Miller and his entourage of beauties. Thank you again for visiting the Flagstaff studio. I wanted to mention that the transitional music that we've been using in these episodes is the music of Peter Sterling. Thank you, Peter. This beautiful song is called Ark of the Angels, and it comes from his CD and book entitled Hearing the Angels Sing. And now for 2 weeks from the posting date of this episode, visit lighttechnologypublishing.com, and we will also be having a promo special for Peter's book. Simply plug in the 50% promo code SJS Sterling, STERLING. This code will be active for 2 weeks from the date of this episode posting. And remember, again, all 11 of David Miller's books will be 50% off with promo code SJS Miller. Thank you, listeners. Please visit our Facebook page, Sedona Journal, and drop us a note, or you can email us now at info@sedonajournalspeaks.com. And that's a wrap. Say it with me. Our power and possibilities are infinite.